Ms. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Texas,
Yes, ma'am.
we welcome you to the Rules Committee. I'm not sure how long you've been there because we've had a crowd, but I hope that it's been a good experience for you. Is this your first time?
It is. It reminds me of the Texas legislature. This is how we do all the hearings down there, little back and forth and little member questions. It's good. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Well, if you've heard my comments, we welcome your written testimony, and we hope that you can keep your spoken comments to 5 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. I come here today as a member of the Subcommittee on Elections and House Administrations Committee, and because voting and the right of the people to select their leaders are among the most sacred rights that we must always defend. I appreciate the efforts to ensure that our elections are safe and free from foreign interference and that only U.S. citizens are allowed to vote. However, this bill seeks some solutions for problems that don't exist, and it creates some other problems that I'm very, very concerned about, of which I've offered 3 amendments that I hope the committee will substantially consider. You know, one of the big concerns is that we don't allow for any mail or online voter registration in this new version. We have many states that allow for that, but we also have many service members, persons with disabilities, seniors who rely on online and mail-in registration in order to register to vote. This bill requires allows for only an in-person voter registration. So my amendment would allow for people to provide their documents online to be able to take care of folks who are not able to get out of their homes, because as this bill is written, it will absolutely deny the right to register to vote for eligible citizens. And I would think that that is something that every member of this committee would be very concerned about, like I am. My second amendment provides teeth for those who are wrongfully denied the right to vote, who are eligible. Can you imagine being a citizen of this country and you put in your voter registration and somebody tells you you can't vote? How are you going to respond to that constituent that reaches out to you that says, I was denied the right to vote and I'm legally entitled to? We have to take an abundance of careful measures to make sure that those are allowed to vote. And so one of my amendments gives a right to cure. If you've been denied the right to vote, then you should be able to have a district court have a hearing on your denial within 24 hours to determine if you have been wrongfully disenfranchised the right to vote. Because we, as the Congress of the United States, should seek to ensure, without waiver, without hesitation, without question, every eligible citizen of this country should be able to vote. And then thirdly, we have a lot of provisions in this bill that require for criminal penalties for those on election administrators who register in illegal aliens to vote. Well, likewise, if they wrongfully deny the right to vote of eligible citizens, then criminal penalties should ensue likewise. So they can't have on the one side and not the other. If there's going to be criminal penalties for them doing their job, then it needs to also ensure that legal citizens have the right for recourse in the event that they are wrongfully denied. And those people are held accountable if they seek to intentionally deny the right to vote to legal citizens of this country. So those are my 3 amendments. I deeply hope that the committee will seek to improve this legislation to make sure that Congress does its constitutional duty to make sure that we protect the inviolate right of every person in this country to vote if they are able. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Well, I thank you very much, Ms. Johnson, for your comments and for your amendments. Mr. McGovern, I have no questions. Mr. McGovern.
Yeah, no, I would, first of all, thank you for coming here. Thank you for your patience. I support all 3 of your amendments. They all are reasonable and thoughtful, which probably means they won't be made in order. I sometimes have jokingly that the Rules Committee is the place where democracy goes to die sometimes. And on a bill regarding voting rights, I mean, and voter protection, I really do think we ought to open it up and allow some different points of view to be put forward. So we support your amendments. We will, if they're not made in order, we will absolutely, tomorrow when we meet to report out the rule, I will offer them, and hopefully we'll get be able to get some Republicans to vote for it. You know, I will also just take my moment here to say that, you know, again, as you can see, we're outnumbered here, 9-4. And so sometimes, you know, and I always regret when we don't have an opportunity for a give and take or debate. But I just do want to say to the gentleman, to suggest that the CFPB rule somehow benefits big banks, I find that to be over the top. Even Senator Josh Hawley, who I can't even agree on what to have lunch with him about, opposed this resolution on the Senate floor, and he knows this resolution is harmful, telling reporters, and I quote, "Why would we help the big banks at the expense of working people? I just don't understand it." I mean, there is a consensus, a growing consensus with Democrats and some Republicans, with liberals and some conservatives, that what Mr. Barr is bringing before this committee will be harmful to regular consumers, our constituents. So I just wanted to say that because I have a little moment to be able to express myself. But I support your amendments. And again, you know, this so-called SAVE Act, I think disadvantages women in particular in a way that, again, I hope it doesn't become law, but if it ever does, it's like a poll tax.
Well, that's right. I mean, one of the biggest problems, though, is for married women, if look, they could get it wrong. Well, where's the right to fix it? There's no right to fix an error in this bill. Nowhere do all the 80 million married women across this country have a chance to say, this clerk got it wrong. I'm a citizen, I deserve the right to vote, and I demand my right to vote. And we, as Congress, have an obligation to ensure that every citizen of this country is able to vote in our elections. And unfortunately, this bill has way too many problems with it that will rid and deny people the most violent thing that we have in this country is the right of self-determination and the right to vote. It's what distinguishes our democracy from those all across the world, right here. It's what we were founded on. And so I think these amendments really go to cure a lot of the problems that could really prohibit people having their right to vote. I know if I was denied my right to vote, I'd be damn mad. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people, everyone in this room would as well. Yeah. And what recourses do we have under this bill?
Absolutely.
Nothing.
And again, you know, the ability to, you know, comply with all that you need to comply with to prove that, in fact, you know, you are who you say you are, could be costly. Maybe it doesn't matter for Elon Musk. He doesn't care about money. He gives out $1 million checks, you know, right before elections to try to, you know, buy votes. But, you know, $160 for a passport for a lot of people is not only a lot of money, but the time it takes to get a passport, you know, may prevent you from being able to register in time. So anyway, I will support your amendments. I thank you for being here, and I yield back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Mr. Langworthy? Ms. Scanlon?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for bringing these amendments. I think we hadn't devoted much time yet in this debate to the fact that this bill would disenfranchise folks who are serving overseas, folks with disabilities who are unable to meet the in-person requirements. So I think that's a really important amendment, as are the ones that provide some balance here, because the whole weight of this bill is to disenfranchise eligible voters in order to solve this non-existent problem regarding non-citizen voters. So I think the cure provision, the fact that there would be balancing criminal provisions, all make a lot of sense, and I will support those amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting because I don't know how you can say you support our veterans and not support my amendment. Because how in the world are they supposed to come in person when their kid turns 18 or whatever? How are they supposed to register to vote if they can't do it online or remotely? How can you support seniors who have mobility problems, who can't, maybe they don't have a driver's license anymore, or whatever. How can you support people with disabilities and not give them an opportunity to vote? When there's absolutely no reason why they can't submit a passport online, submit their birth certificate online. There's absolutely no reason at all. We submit electronic documents to prove who we are all the time. And so other than to keep people from being able to exercise their constitutional right to vote, and I really do think that this amendment needs to be strongly considered.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Scanlon. Mr. Griffith? No question. Mr. Jack? No question. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. You're
Thank you so much for the
excused.
opportunity to be here. I hope you strongly consider my amendments.
Do we have anyone else seeking to testify on H.R. 1526, H.R. 22, S.J. Res. 18, or S.J. Res. 228? Seeing none, this closes the hearing portion of our meeting, and the committee stands in recess until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.